For 30 years, the compassionate staff at Siskin Hospital for Physical Rehabilitation has understood how a traumatic accident or illness can steal hope from patients and their families. In a single moment, their lives are turned upside down, struggling with what's next. That's where Siskin Hospital steps in as an assuring and confident hand to hold. They understand it's about much more than providing expert care and state-of-the-art treatment programs. They are there to bring hope back to life again, and where hope lives, triumph is possible. One pretty spring day, Steven Hawkins took his new motorcycle out for a spin. Little did he know, his life would change in an instant. A reckless driver caused Steven to fly over the handlebars and land on the pavement, wedged between the car and the motorcycle. The impact left him with a spinal cord injury.
They had told me that I had been in a real bad motorcycle accident, that I was paralyzed.
An off-duty firefighter happened to pass by and immediately jumped into action. Steven's girlfriend, Cindy, received the frightening news he was at Erlanger, but had no idea why he was there until she arrived.
They didn't tell me a lot. They just kept saying, you know, you probably need to call his family, and that it was a serious motorcycle accident. And they said that, you know, they didn't think that he would walk again because his T4 burst, and that he was paralyzed from the chest down.
Cindy faithfully stayed by Steven's side as he slipped in and out of consciousness for the next 2 weeks. Finally, Steven stabilized enough to transfer to Siskin Hospital and begin his rehabilitation journey.
I was pretty excited about it because I knew coming from there over to Siskin's Hospital, I was going to be working with specialists that was going to try to help me to be able to walk again.
Steven knew that Siskin Hospital was his best chance for recovery, but the gravity of his situation plunged him into a deep depression. As his rehabilitation nurse, Sarah knew her job included not only caring for Steven's physical body, but also his mind and spirit. She survived a horrific accident herself, and she understood exactly what he was feeling and shared her personal experience with him in an effort to give him hope.
Being that I've had a traumatic injury myself, I've kind of tried to give him a pep talk, and you know, you get back on the horse, and when I realized that wasn't working, started looking at getting somebody else in that has been through the exact same thing that could actually help him get through.
Sarah remembered Will Posey, another patient she had treated who was only 27 years old when a devastating motorcycle accident paralyzed him. Will's positive attitude and strength helped him triumph over his fear and conquer adaptive motocross in the 2019 Winter X Games. Sarah thought Will would be the perfect person to inspire Steven.
She thought of another plan. She had called somebody to come see me. His name was Will Posey, and he came and seen me and shared with me a little bit about his story. I really can't thank him enough because at that point I was pretty depressed and down, and he shared with me that all the recovery that he's made, and man, it made me feel so good.
Obviously, when I came in the room, you could tell that he was going through a really, really hard time, and I know what that can be like. I mean, you just feel like, you know, your whole world has been flipped upside down in an instant. And when I came into the room and started talking to him, I could just tell that the light of day was starting to come out of him.
You just saw a complete change in Steven from the time he met Will to the next day.
I just feel like that's what we're put on this earth to do, and I feel like if you have something to help somebody, I feel like you should always give back. And there was multiple people that gave back to me when I got hurt.
Motivated by Will's recovery and the hope it gave him, Steven worked with his treatment team to tackle his rehab goals with renewed enthusiasm, taking every small step as a huge victory toward progress.
Steven wanted to walk again. He wanted to get back on his motorcycle. Initially, beyond that level, the only muscle he could move was, I think it was his right big toe. He could just barely wiggle it. We got him on the FES cycle probably after 2 or 3 days of him being here. I remember the first time we saw his quad fire, just one little contraction, but that was enough to say, okay, we're getting a signal there.
At the time of the accident, Steven had no insurance, but because of generous donors at events like the Possibillities luncheon, Siskin Hospital was able to offer him a grant so he could receive the care he so desperately needed. Now that it was time to go home, his team went to work securing the equipment he would also need.
Angie, one of the caseworkers, she worked really hard getting stuff donated for us. So she was able to get us a Hoyer lift and use that to be able to lift him up. Getting people to donate different equipment. Everything that they did for us was truly amazing.
It's okay, Cindy.
So, because there was a lot of things that we didn't have to be able to care for him.
They're compassionate about what they're doing. You're not just a name or a face to them. And it was pretty amazing that they cared about me that much.
And have somebody who really looks like they're in rough shape end up coming back and being able to do things like walk again and get around like they want to. It's amazing to me that you can recover from something like he recovered from.
That's where I made the improvement from walking with assistance to walking with a cane with no assistance. So it was a big step from having somebody having to stand there and help me. I was finally to where I could do something independently.
When he discharged from inpatient, it was pretty miraculous. He walked again. He walked out of inpatient. He walked out of here with a straight cane, with a smile on his face.
Because if it wasn't for Siskin Hospital, I truly believe, I don't think he would be walking right now.
Because of Siskin Hospital, I can walk again.